What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Diamond Studios podcast. This is where three friends get together to talk about music business and the balance of both with life. I'm your host, Nathan Collins, and as always, we're joined by Kevin Beggs.
You shall not pass.
Jonathan Boucher.
You can get by if you want.
And today, we're going to talk about 5 things to avoid during your recording session. Let's get into this.
Let's get into it.
Let's do
Let's get it.
this. All right. Well, hello, everyone.
Hello.
I hope you're doing absolutely amazing. The fact that you are joining us on this podcast means that you are smarter than 90% of the human race.
Go give yourself a pat on the back.
And then give us 5 stars.
Yeah.
You were smarter than a fifth. Can we say
Jonathan.
that? I don't know.
You're smarter than a Jonathan.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay. So, yeah, today we're going to talk about 5 things you can, 5 things you definitely want to avoid doing during your session. So, number 1, we're going to talk about distracting or bothering the engineer. And then number 2, we're going to talk about being overly picky on your takes. And then number 3, we're going to hit on quality over quantity. Not the other way around.
We want to be Mac DeMarco and release a 200-song album.
So do not choose
Every song is good.
quantity over quality.
Yeah, don't do
Do
that.
not choose quantity over quality. That's what I meant to say. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you're starting your recording session. You want your music to sound great, and you also want your ideas to be executed correctly.
Yes.
Don't hinder that process.
No.
Leave the engineer alone.
Get your filthy hands off the board.
It's annoying,
Yeah.
first of all,
Your greasy
Um,
hands.
from an engineer aspect. And then from an artist aspect, you want your ideas to be executed. So, in previous podcasts, if you have not listened to those, after you finish this one, go back and listen to them.
All of them.
In previous episodes, we talked about communicating with your engineer. Make sure the vision of your song and your project is communicated clearly before your session. However, this is the second part of that. You communicate it. Let the engineer do their job. If they pull up a plugin that you've never seen before, shut up. Shut up.
Hey, I've seen that on BandLabs.
Yeah, just stop.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen that happen where
Yeah.
you'll pull up something and I guess I'm not dogging on it, but at the same time, it is annoying whenever they try to tell you what they would do in their plugin,
Yeah.
not realizing that the plugin we're using is Reverb and the one they were using is like Chorus or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's
Now,
really weird.
yeah, on a humble side, it is okay. We record a lot of artists who have never done this before.
Yeah.
So that's the perspective we're coming from. Now, there are artists who know what they're talking about. I've got artists that come in here and they automatically know the settings they want.
Yeah.
On their auto tune or their everything down to like the limiter, de-esser. Or,
That's really smart too, because that saves you money.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like, Gabriel Averett.
Yeah.
He's one of those. He just knows what he wants. He knows the settings.
He gave you his preset.
Yeah. He
Which
was
is-
like, I already have this set. He's
That'll
like,
make you
"Here
a
it is."
golden child in the studio.
Yeah.
Mm.
That
That could be the difference between getting like one song done and like several.
Yeah. That's very true. It's it's also a lifesaver when it comes to mixing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But if the engineer's working, this is such an uncomfortable couch.
We'll just toss it. It's fine.
Any couch sponsors out there?
Good Home Furnishings.
Good home furnishing.
So let the engineer do their job.
Yeah.
Don't hinder them, and please don't try to one up them. It's just not the time.
Yeah.
It's not the time.
You don't want to be that guy in the studio that's like trying to like,
Explain the trim silence feature
yes.
when you don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy. Yeah. Because I mean that is a thing. Sure, there are tools out there that can make life easier.
Yeah.
But sometimes the tools don't get the job done.
Yeah.
So
And every
Um,
engineer has a different process. I think it's something to realize that like just because you think just because Joe on his YouTube channel said that this is the only way to do it doesn't mean you should tell your engineer, "Hey, you're doing that wrong."
It's a load of crap.
Yeah. Like you're going to look really dumb.
I've never, and I'm not kidding, I've met a lot of engineers, and I've never met any engineer that has ran a session the same way,
Yeah.
that has produced a song the same way. I've never met anyone that follows the exact same guidelines.
Yeah.
Even if you go to school and they train you up to do something a certain way, once you get hands on, you're gonna change it.
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody
but-
processes information differently.
yeah,
And so, like, naturally, your process of doing anything is going to be
Yeah.
completely different than someone else.
so the whole like don't distract your engineer doesn't just fall in line with artists. But you know, as we've mentioned 100 times before, you know, being careful who you bring into the studio.
Yeah.
If you bring your cousin Nancy and she's talking the engineer's ear off, how the heck do you expect us to hear what we need to hear?
Yeah.
On, you know, to the accuracy that you're expecting.
Yeah.
You know, and to the accuracy that we are expecting as well. So just make sure everyone is mature and not distracting the engineer.
You're here for a reason. You're working.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So you should view it like that.
You're here to get songs done.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you just constantly nag the engineer. And also, if you're constantly picking apart your song at stupid things. There's things that need to be nitpicked. There's definitely things that need to be done. But being too picky 90% of the time is more harmful
Yeah.
than helpful.
I mean, that keeps your release from coming out. Like,
yeah.
every
yeah.
time. I feel like I know hundreds of artists who are like, I'm not releasing this yet because I'm still trying to make sure it's like absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's been like 5 years. Just
Yeah.
release the song.
Yeah. But what happened in those scenarios, those make me so mad.
Yeah.
Because like if you've sat on a song for 2 years, who you were as an artist then
Mm-hmm.
is not who you are now.
No.
And if you don't do anything to the song to help translate who you are now, it's gonna come across fake.
Yeah.
There's exceptions.
Yeah.
There's exceptions.
Definitely.
I release music that I sit on all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's interesting though, because I've also heard stories of like, I don't know if I talked to you about this or someone else, but there was a engineer in Canada. I can't remember who he worked for. It was some bigger name, and he would actually have her record all of her songs, and then wait like a long time, and then come back to it. It was a weird process.
Oh, that's
I feel like we talked about it, but I can't remember who it was.
it's what's his name?
He worked with some singer from the 80s. I can't
We're
remember.
famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a conversation we had with bruh,
Yeah. I can't remember his name when we talked to Steve.
Steve.
Yeah.
Hey Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Steven.
Hey.
Anyways, besides
So-
the point, but like it was
Yeah.
some people, like some engineers do work that way where I found that really interesting. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I found that really interesting that he had them record everything and then just like push it
Yeah.
off, which I guess gets rid of the familiarity and the reference. So it's like you come back and you're like,
Yeah.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I agree with that, but I understand what they're doing in that
Yeah.
though.
it makes sense in the sense of sound.
Yeah.
But as far as passion, no.
No.
You're chopping bits and pieces of passion apart.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
it's
right.
gonna
He
translate differently.
he took the parts and like made his own thing. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
No. But, you know, every engineer has their thing and
Yeah.
that just so happened to be his. So yeah, don't be overly picky.
Yeah.
Everyone hates the sound of their own voice. Or most people do. But if you get a good take and if the take is great, don't just redo it
Yeah.
because you want to pretend like you're an A-lister. Like there's just some things you can't do
Yeah.
just to save time. You're about to cost yourself a buttload of money. Because what happens is whenever you start picking apart everything, like the negative things, your brain starts to highlight the negative things because you see what you want to see. That's how life goes. And so it's the same with music. You see what you want to see, and then you start seeing like ghost, disgusting notes. All right, but on the flip side,
On the flippity flip.
you've got quality and quantity. So you don't want to be nitpicky, but you know, you want to have good quality. But you don't want to just come in and record a whole bunch of crap and leave with a bunch of crap. It happens.
Yeah.
You need to take your time. You need to focus on the task at hand and like mentally choose quality. It's important. So just make sure you don't choose quantity over quality. If you can have the best of both worlds, then you be Hannah Montana.
You be Hammond.
You do you, boo. That's a pretty simple.
Yeah. I feel like I think about like it's interesting to think about like people like Chris Brown though, who released like those enormous albums.
Yeah.
But like each one is like fairly good. I think that's also because he's like an A-lister and has studio time out the wazoo.
Yeah.
He doesn't even think about how long he's been at the studio. Probably he just goes there and does everything. But for someone in a spot of trying to grow and trying to start,
Yeah.
you should definitely focus on making sure your takes are good rather than just like, yeah, that was good enough. Let's move on to the next song.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be cautious of that, I feel like.
You definitely have to be at a certain level
Yeah.
of fame.
Yeah.
Before you can just start releasing crap and just make money off of it.
Yeah.
Because those bigger artists have dedicated fans that are gonna listen to every single one of those songs.
Yeah. Regardless if they're good or not,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. Just because that artist released it.
Yeah.
But at the stage of like coming up and, you know, just starting out, you need to choose quality.
Yeah.
Which we will get more into in the next episode where it's going to be split into two parts of mixing and mastering and why it's important, and
Whoa.
it's a information overload. So, be ready for that. All right, what you guys been listening to this week?
I found a new band recently. They're not new. They've been playing since around 2019. But Motel Radio. They have an album called The Garden. That's the only one I think me and my wife have listened to, and we really like it. Very indie vibes, but really good vocals. Really enjoy them. Really good vibe. Kind of cool. Look them up.
Cool.
Okay.
Why I said that in such a way.
That was the most like whatever.
Whatever, man.
You
John-
suck.
Jonathan does that to my music picks every now and then. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. What you been listening to, Jonathan?
Well, Kevin and I went to see Wilco the other day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Wilco.
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry.
Now Nathan's laughing at your music pick.
No.
I'm
Are you
sorry.
making fun of me?
Nathan, what's your music pick? You about to see Nathan Collins?
No.
I'm sure it's something very special.
I have taken a trip down not memory lane, but memory lane.
In your favorite rocket ship.
I've been listening to a lot of the crossovers of like the EDM and pop era.
Oh yeah.
So a good bit of the song I was just singing like earlier with Zara Larson and whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great song. And some like DJ Mustard with Travis Scott combos. Those kinds of things. I really want to see that progression of music
Yeah.
come back. I want to see the punk era come back and also the crossover of that. If we can have both of those come back, I would be a happy guy.
That would be great.
Yeah. It's the two peaks of music.
Mm-hmm.
Peaks of music. Yeah. So that's it. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you guys.
I need to get off this couch
You do.
and sit up and do something with my life. So, we'll catch you guys on the next episode every Wednesday, 5 a.m. Hey, if you like it, if you like the show, make sure you share, subscribe, do whatever, wherever you're watching this. Comment, let us know what you think. And
Also, go grab a bag of coffee from Living Room Coffee Roasters at georgiacoffeeroasters.com and use code Diamond Studios for 10% off a bag of coffee.
yeah,
You can do it online. You can do it in person, but you can do it online.
Do it how you want it. Have it your way.
No. not Burger King or whoever. Anyways, thank you for listening to the show. And
go get merch.
yeah, go get merch. That shirt he's wearing,
You can get it.
you can get it.
DiamondStudiosLID.com. You can go get one. Okay, goodbye. We love
Bye.
you.
That was 5 things you shouldn't do. 5 things you shouldn't do. 5 things you should avoid doing. Episode. This has been the podcast.
Ew.
This has been the podcast.
That was awful.